When comfort ends, growth begins. Welcome back once again to JV Matters, where we talk football, especially JV football. I'm your host, Coach Lowry. Today we're going to go ahead and continue our conversation on growth. As a coach, we spend a lot of time trying to prepare our players for the next level. We teach fundamentals, we teach discipline, we teach accountability, we teach effort, we teach all those basic concepts. All right. But eventually, there comes a moment when players have to see for themselves what the next level actually looks like. They need to be challenged. Recently, our JV team had that opportunity, the opportunity to be challenged. And they were. From the very first game to the very last game, at the last minute, we found ourselves competing on a 7-on-7 tournament against teams made up of primary varsity players. When you hear that, as a coach, your mind usually starts to race. Mine did for a while there, but mine now races with excitement because I get excited when I get to play. When I get to see my team play, I get excited. I don't care who it is anymore. I don't care if it's a varsity team. I don't care if it's a JV team. I don't care as long as I get to see my team out on the field competing. I get excited. That's what gets me going. From now on, it's just watching my team play because I know they're growing and they're getting excited. They want to play. I want to see them play. I want to see them learn. This is where growth begins. But some of them get, uh, some coaches get afraid. They become scared because some are afraid to put their team out there, especially the new coaches. They're afraid of what they might see. I have always challenged my team. I always put a challenge out there in front of them. It's a carrot. I challenge you to do this. I challenge you to get that first down. I challenge you to put a drive together. I challenge you to stop that team from getting a first down. I challenge you to prevent them from scoring. We did that. We did that several times over the weekend. It was awesome on what they did. They did an outstanding job. The only way they get better is for them all to play the best teams out there. A team does not get better if they play an average team or a team that's below average. They get better when they play a team that is as good as they are or better. And that's the way I feel 100% is the way to challenge you. So if it means playing a varsity team with your second and third string team out there, so be it. I will put my second and third stringers out there against anybody as well. It's the only way they're going to learn to respond also. They have to be ready to answer the call. You wonder how your players will respond as well. Sure, you wonder if they're going to be intimidated. Yes, they may get intimidated. They may see a team out there like, oh my gosh, they're bigger than us. Oh my gosh, they're faster than us. Yes, you just have to learn to overcome that. You have to learn to be able to overcome what they might see or those abilities. Um, will they compete? Yes, you're hoping they will. Will they realize how much work still lies ahead of them? Sure, there's going to be a lot of work ahead of them. Or will they discover they're closer than they think? We realized where we were at during this competition. The truth is, there's probably a little bit of all of that there. There's going to be some intimidation. There's going to be some ways that they're going to compete. They're going to know they have to work ahead of them, and they're going to discover that in some areas they're really close. And that's exactly uh, why this experience was like that, and that's very valuable to them out there. So, so for my team, usually competes for they're awesome out there. They did a fantastic job. The first game is usually one of those games that just gets the cobwebs out there and gets the kids going. Sometimes they just like, I'm thinking to myself, what are you guys doing out there? What's going on? And they usually respond very well with the following games. So it's just kind of getting the dirt out, getting the cobwebs out. It's like, come on, gentlemen, let's get it together, and we will get moving on the next game. So too many young athletes usually spend a lot of their times comparing themselves to people of their own level. It's time to get them out of their comfort zone, and let's not make them very comfortable. We need to learn how to bring our team up to that next level. So you need to start challenging your players. If we're not challenging our players, they're not going to get any better. Okay? Yes, you can compete against your freshman team and things like that. That's going to help your freshman team. It's also going to help your JV team as well a little bit too, but you want to challenge your team. So if you get the opportunity to play against your varsity team, yes, do that also. You want to challenge your team. Okay? You don't want them to get too comfortable. They measure themselves against familiar competition, but growth rarely happens when they're comfortable. So get them out of comfortable positions or comfortable situations. You have to take them out of that box and put them in another box, in another unfamiliar territory. Help them grow. If you want your team to grow and you want your team to be good and respond, then get them out of those comfortable areas. My team last year was the same way. We took them out. They did really well once we put them in pads and they challenged themselves to competition. They did an awesome job and they responded all year long and never hung their heads, even on teams that were supposed to blow them out. They did outstanding. So growth happens when they're challenged. So you need to make sure that you're challenging your team. Growth happens when you're pushed, when you're pushing your team. You have to push them. We challenge our kids every week and they respond well. They are not worried about any competition they go up against. They look at that as that's just another team. The only difference is that they're wearing a different colored uniform when they're out there. That's all. That's all I tell them. They're different colored uniforms. They're coached a little different. They will be fine. Just do your job and you will be fine. Growth happens when you're focused on or focused to compete against people that may be bigger than you, faster than you, stronger than you, or more experienced than you. That's when you see growth. You see your kids mature when you go up against competition that's better than you, because that's how you see how they respond, because it will surprise you on what they can do. This helps to make you better. It helps to make you think outside the box. It helps you both on your offense and defensive side. What can you do to stop that team? How can you stop them? What does your team need to do to stop them? What does your team need to do to move the ball? It helps both sides of the ball. That's what this tournament provided for us. It was a reality check for us, not a negative one, but an honest one. It helped our players discover that they could compete at a higher level than they believed in. Others realized that maybe they needed some areas to improve. So some of my players were like, "Yeah, I know where I need to step up." Some of my players said, "Yeah, I can compete on this level." Both of the outcomes were very valuable. They realized what they needed to do because you can't improve on what you're not willing to see or what you're unwilling to see. One thing that stood out to me was how quickly players realized that varsity athletes were not human or superheroes, especially as we got into our second, third, fourth games. They realized these guys could be beat. Okay, so they did well in this competition. They're not magical. We realized we could compete with them at this level in sevens. Now, I'm not saying putting pads on, that's a different story. But when we went into this level, they realized they had confidence. This will give them confidence going into the regular season once we put pads on and we go into other teams. They will know how to defend them on the back end. So that's what helped them out. Our JV big mans also did well. They competed against varsity as well, and they won two of the competitions against them too. So they also stepped up and did really well. So we realized we could compete at this level. They're simply players who have spent more time developing their skills, discipline, and understanding the game. That's where the varsity is. So my players realize an important lesson that sometimes young athletes build up to the next level in their minds, and something impossible to is nothing impossible to reach. So that's what my players realize, that eventually they're going to be at that level. They will be there soon. Probably by the end of this summer, they will be able to compete even more. Then they finally compete against it and then realize that they can get there too, whether it's this year or next year when they all jump up to that varsity level. So but getting there requires work, and they realize that now. It requires a commitment, it requires consistency, it requires embracing challenges instead of avoiding them. One of the things that I tell my players all the time is this: don't look for easier competition, look for opportunities to improve, because easier competition might make you feel good. Harder competition makes you better. I say this in the weight room too. Don't skip a weight. Don't skip an opportunity. Don't skip a rep. Because if you do, that makes you weaker and that makes you look bad. So don't skip the opportunity. That's a lesson that applies far beyond football. It applies in school. It applies in a career. If you decide you're not going or not able to go to football beyond high school, it applies to life. Whatever you do, the people who grow the most are usually the people willing to step outside their comfort zone, step outside of that box, get into a different zone. They are willing to fail, they're willing to struggle. Those are the people that are going to be successful, whether it's in football or in life or in school. Whatever they do, those are the people that are going to be successful. They're willing to be uncomfortable for a short period of time or a period of time because they understand that's where improvement happens. As coaches, that's what we want our players. We don't need perfection. We're not always looking for the perfection, especially at the JV level. You can't expect perfection always at the JV level. But what you can expect is growth. And sometimes the best things that can happen to a young athlete is being placed in an environment that challenges everything everything they think they know. Being in an uncomfortable position helps them grow, because when comfort ends, growth begins. And that's exactly what we experience, and what our team and that gave our team is growth. Thanks for listening. If you like what you heard, please share with friends and family, hit the like button, subscribe below, and you all have an outstanding day, and I'll catch you all on the next episode of JV Matters.